Karen secretly films me jogging and shows video to my boss. I recently had an emergency appendectomy and recovery has been slow. I had to take time off from my own athletics, but worse, from coaching in the kids' sports program I am involved with. The experience made me step back and realize I really built my whole identity around being active and healthy. So the hit my physical abilities took as a result of being sick. The healing process has made me feel lost. I've been working to regain the joy I used to experience from exercise without going, "Oh, you used to be so much faster with that," or "your technique used to be so much stronger," or "you don't fit in anymore," or whatever else, and just enjoy myself regardless of the level I am at. But ironically, the anxiety about not being able to do what I used to has made regaining those abilities difficult. It made me self-conscious about exercising in public spaces, but I was starting to finally get over it as friends convinced me the source of the concerns were all in my head. There's no way to get back to it other than training. So despite the anxiety, I started running again. As soon as the doctors approved it, I went to the local track and just did a few slow laps each morning, building up speed every few days. And I've only just been authorized to add some sprints and body weight strength training to the mix. Occasionally there were other people at the track, but I didn't really notice because I run with headphones on and try to zone out in these lighter sessions. But little did I know my friends were wrong. It was not all in my head. I was being watched, and more than that, I was being judged. My absolute catastrophe level worst nightmare at this stage of building back my strength and speed. On Friday I was setting up for practice at the kids program and the head coach asked me into his office because a parent had a complaint. A parent I didn't know too well. Karen was there and he said she had specific complaints about me. The meeting almost didn't happen because of Karen's initial refusal to put on a mask required in our facilities for now, but eventually her desire to tell on me for whatever she thought she had me on overrode her freedoms to infect everyone. I was a bit nervous, as anyone is being called to meet with their boss over a complaint. But I figured it was a classic case of my kid should start more. Or I know my kid tried out as a midfielder but I want her to switch to defense. That kind of rules don't apply to me thing. But instead, I sit down in the office and Karen is playing my boss a video of me running on the track that she filmed from afar. It's surrounded by stadium-style risers. I was horrified, both because no one is ever totally used to seeing themselves on video, and because I was just embarrassed about how slow I was. But most importantly because I was a virtual stranger. I'd met her personally maybe 4 times, ever filming me while I ran on my own time at a private facility. She then went on to explain that her 8-year-old son, one of the players on my squad, was lapping me in the video and insisting the coaches need to hold themselves to higher athletic standards than the young players if they want to prepare them for college teams. Again, her son is 8. Apparently her son would sometimes be running on the track while her older child was practicing on a nearby field. I never noticed. The kid is still relatively new, and I don't pay much attention to the other people on the track. My boss patiently but firmly explained to Karen that my physical abilities are not the parents' concern and all personnel are closely managed by the head coaches who understand each unique situation and what's appropriate, and that her son wouldn't be impacted. Karen then went on to say my being out of shape was probably connected to why I'd been taking so much time off lately. Technically yes, it is because I was in the hospital, and complaining that the personnel changeover isn't good for the kids. My boss again reiterated that the head coaches hadn't changed or taken any time off and that I was still one of the most skilled in the area I instruct. So this was not her concern. She asked if there was someone else she could speak to, but he explained that he was the owner and founder of this program. So no, there was not. I knew my boss was intentionally avoiding saying what had happened to me or even alluding to a health issue to protect my privacy, but I figured maybe being transparent with her would show her how ridiculous she was being and keep her tuition dollars in our program during a difficult time for sports clubs. But when I explained, she just turned to the boss and said, well, maybe you should furlough her until she's healed and bring on a healthy coach in the meantime, because my son needs someone out there who can keep up with him. My boss respected what I was trying to do but made clear we weren't going further with that strategy to avoid setting a precedent of sharing coaches' personal circumstances, telling her why people take time off or what their health status maybe is not her concern because the program manages that and makes appropriate decisions. She kept kicking up a fuss, but the coach finally told her he had to get back out on the field, back to her son and everyone else's kids. She started physically leaving, but continued fussing about how she was not satisfied and would not be recommending us to other parents. Pro tip: not the way to conduct yourself with the people who make recommendations to scouts concerning family culture team interaction. The coach wasn't preparing to leave. Instead, he stopped her in her tracks to tell her if she was found to be surveilling or otherwise harassing any staff members again, she would be perma-banned from the program. No games or practices, no team social events, no presence in our buildings, and no clemency. So, that was pretty satisfying. Her son is a good, average kid, and I am glad the consequences were focused on booting her out rather than limiting his opportunities to have fun playing. So then we went out and had a great, happy, safe practice. This was still a pretty upsetting event for me personally though, and I'll never unsee that discouraging video of me running, but it was ultimately reassuring to know the other staff have my back. Leaving Karen in the dust is just another step on my road to recovery. Karen is a monster. Follow your recovery plan and doctor advice. I know recovery is always slower than most athletic types want it to be. You don't want to set yourself back by pushing too hard and getting another injury. What an awful woman she was, and she was filming you as you were trying to get back to health after your operation. Very creepy behavior. One wonders if she films the people participating in the sports. I'm very glad your boss backed you up with this obnoxious person. I hope she behaves herself and doesn't interfere anymore. You can actually use your story to inspire the kids though. You have just been through surgery and you are up and running again. Never giving up. I am seriously clapping for you because I hurt my big toe once and refused to get up for a full week. Though a funny thought came to my mind. Go on like Etsy or whatever crafting website you can find and have a huge pin made to put on your clothing that says something like I got traumatic surgery X month ago and ran X meters or kilometer or miles today. What's your excuse? But again, I am a bit of a in-your-face type person and I understand that this would also not be professional. Not saying to do it either, just a picture I had in mind. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos. Stay with Reddit is awesome.